Hey friend, welcome to the Halfway to Dead podcast. I'm your host, Jen Lovell. Listen, you and I have reached that age where we are done with the bullshit. We know that midlife is our chance to flip the script and experience life on our own terms. It's time to reconnect with our higher selves and reclaim our inner peace. Are you ready with an open heart and an open mind? Awesome, you're in the right place. Hop in and ride shotgun with me on this midlife spiritual journey. Hey guys, Jen here. Thanks for coming back. I'm still doing a shout out looking for all my midlife spiritual awakening friends that would like to come on and share their story with the world anonymously if you'd like. Anyway, email me if you want more information. Today, my guest is Sue Elliott. Sue is an ancient soul who's here to help humanity rise up into a higher level of consciousness based in divine unconditional love. Through her decades of work as a coach, writer, and speaker, Sue has already helped millions of people heal old patterns, connect with divine guidance, and live with greater ease, joy, and peace. For the last 2 decades, Sue has served as a successful and beloved angel coach. But recently, the angels guided her to stop doing private coaching. Instead, they told her to make their most potent messages accessible to far more people through a book called My Angel Coach. Receive your divine guidance and feel the angels' love. That's what we're talking about today, guys. We're going to talk about her book. We go over her whole story from being a little valley girl in California to an angel coach and the whole journey that got her there. And then I want you guys to make sure you log in for the bonus content because I had her channel the angels because I had questions. So if you want to hear answers to the things that were burning on Jen's mind, like, is there one religion getting it right more than others? Are the aliens coming? Is there judgment on the other side? AKA, do we need to worry about hell? Things like this. I just threw them all out there. And she was like, boy, no one's ever asked me some of these. Well, Jen did. So anyway, you guys, I just love Sue. Sue's a great little soul here on earth helping us all. So I encourage you to get her book and let's jump in and hear all about it. Hey, Sue, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, it's delightful to be here.
I know, I'm excited. I love to talk angels. Love, love, love to talk angels because I also feel a very special connection to angels. I don't know if you know this, but that is a fact. Okay. So I told everyone about your book, My Angel Coach. I want to back up and talk a little bit about your story before we dive into the book. So, have you always been woo-woo?
That is such the perfect question. Yes and no.
Okay.
So I was very sensitive as a child. And I used to, when I was really young, like first grade, second grade, have dreams. And then what I dreamt would happen in school the next day. And it totally freaked me out. So I turned that off. So I'm less clairvoyant than I used to be. I always knew I had a spark of the divine in me. So I didn't forget my connection to the divine, but I also was pretty normal, right? Like if there's such a thing as normal. I went through life. I, went to an Ivy League school, graduated Phi Beta Kappa, went into magazine publishing, but I followed my heart. Like my parents wanted me to go into business. I worked on a couple business magazines and that wasn't my passion back then. So I started working on car magazines because from the time I was 3 years old, I loved cars. I grew up in LA. I grew up in a part, like the northern part of LA in the valley, and we were cruising Van Nuys Boulevard. And when I was in high school, we'd go cruise Westwood by UCLA, the girls, so we could meet college boys. We were so cool.
Yeah.
And
you're a valley girl.
Yeah,
right?
Totally. Oh my God.
Like, oh my God. Okay.
Totally of that era. So I went into car magazine publishing. I worked on hands-on how-to car magazines. You can't get a lot less woo-woo than that. But it was fun. It was a passion industry. People worked in this industry because they loved it. So that really spoke to my heart, and I loved what I did, and I loved to help those people. And I started on a personal transformation journey.
When you start feeling this transition, about how old were you? Were you in your 30s?
I was probably 26 or so when I discovered Marianne Williamson, maybe 27. So late 20s. I was working at Peterson Publishing Company in LA, and the Wilshire Theater where she used to speak every month was a walking distance away. It was like blocks from our office. So there were 3 of us who would walk to listen to Marianne Williamson speak. And I got really into that. And then I got back with somebody I had been dating who was very real world. And I kind of stepped away from that when we decided we were going to get married. I opened the door and then I closed the door. Okay. And then I had a PR agency for a while. I was kind of both sides of the desk, right? I was an editorial person and then I was pitching stuff to editorial people. And at one point I started having trouble getting clients. And I knew the problem wasn't the team because they were amazing. It was me. And so that's when I started back down the personal transformation journey, and I discovered Abraham Hicks. And I was so into Abraham. Listened to, the CDs over and over and over and over. And I actually met my beloved Paul on an Abraham Hicks cruise. So I owe a huge thank you to the Abraham folks.
So, okay, timeline wise here. Did we marry the first guy when you decided
we did marry the first guy?
Okay, then we got rid of him.
We got unmarried.
Okay, yes. And then you found the love of your life as you were reopening again.
So there was a bigger gap than that.
Okay, there's a gap. Yep.
So I went on my first Abraham Hicks cruise while I was still married. My husband let me go on the cruise, let me get into Abraham stuff. That tells you how on the same page we were.
Awful nice of him.
And like so many of us on this journey, we just reached a point in the marriage where we weren't hardly able to communicate anymore. We were in such different places on the path.
Through different directions.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it was a very amicable, very loving unmarriage. Didn't even feel like divorce so much. But I moved up to the Napa Valley, which was my idea of heaven then, because I'm a foodie and I love wine, although it doesn't love me back anymore.
Right.
But I was just super happy, right? That when you first find that freedom again and you're doing the work you love and you're living in a place you love, like everything, every day was like, woo, I couldn't wait to get out of bed. And that's when the angels started training me to do the coaching. So I didn't really know anybody. I would go sit at a bar at a restaurant and order an appetizer and a glass of wine and chat with whoever was sitting next to me. And in those days, there would only be one other person, and they would be going through some sort of major life transition. Like, am I going to stay in my marriage or leave my marriage? Do I want to stay in this job or change careers? Do I want to have an affair with the person who's tempting me or not? Right. So whatever it was, the angels would tell me what to ask, and I would have a conversation with them, and we'd share food, we'd share wine, and we'd have a great time. And then they would say, well, thanks. I have so much clarity now. And then I would never see that person again. Yeah. I have finally thought
you were kind of training this intuitive angel coaching at the bars, just because that is an easy place to find a stranger with problems. Yeah. Usually likely chance you will find that there. And did you know you were purposefully training for this there? Like, was that your intention when you went, or it just happened?
It just happened. So by that time I had coaches, I had gone back into the woo-woo world. I had had one coach on and off for quite a long time. And she had a certain style of coaching, and that turned out to not be my style. Right. And so there was some acceptance of it's okay to do it the Sue way, and it's okay to do it the angel way. And they know what they're talking about because I still argue with them.
Well, yeah.
But of course they're always right.
So you knew you were channeling through angels. That's where the guidance was coming from. Or did you just think, boy, I kind of know what I'm talking about? And then you realized
it was somewhere in between those things, right? It felt bigger than me. But I didn't know, is it my higher self? Is it the divine? Is it angels? And on some level, it's a moot point because I truly believe that we are all facets on the one jewel that is the divine. That's my definition of oneness. So, we're all the divine. We're all the angels. We're all the people. And angels feels accurate to me. And they always give me a wave of goosebumps when I say that, which for me is a yes from them. Because to me, they are the beings that facilitate divine timing, divine intent unfolding, and they are with us always, helping us in all ways.
Yes. Okay. So then you've been working with the angels ever since the bars. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes. And I have to clarify, they weren't like traditional bars. They were like, nice restaurants sitting at the bar in the restaurant.
Yeah, you were in their dives. I get it.
Not that I don't like dive bars, but I was in the Napa Valley.
In an app. Yeah. Okay. So when did this book come about? What pulled you towards writing this book?
So I'll tell you how human I can be and how cute I can be as a human, like all of us.
Okay.
I used to be a book editor, among other things, and I have written lots of books. I wrote a couple automotive books. I ghost wrote 2 books for Ed Begley Jr., the actor and environmentalist. Like the first book I wrote for him took 6 weeks. So for years, I had been beating myself up like, why don't you write a book? You can write a book. You know how easy it is for you to write a book. When I worked on Chevy High Performance magazine back in the 80s, I would write 30 pages of the magazine every month. Like I could do a book in no time.
Yeah.
So I sat down and I tried to write a book many, many times. This book was different. So I started semi-retiring, stepping away from doing much one-on-one coaching. I just didn't have as much energy for it anymore. And so the angels slowed down the pace at which new people showed up. And then eventually it was just my longtime clients who I still see a little bit. And I really wanted to make this information that we had shared with people over about 20 years more accessible, because I was not an inexpensive coach. I did it on a sliding scale, but still it was not, $25 an hour.
The masses can't necessarily afford it. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's only so much one person can do. So we wanted to make it more readily available and available 24/7. So the angels said, take everything and put it in a book. And so we took all the most sort of foundational stuff, how to receive your divine guidance, who you really are, how loved and supported you are, how to work with your emotions, and maybe most importantly of all, how to be love for yourself, because so many of the people who come to me are overgivers. They tend to take care of everyone else first and maybe at some point do a little bit of self-care without even really knowing what that means.
Yeah,
so this
that's
is
like
about
the definition of midlifers, actually.
And women, right?
And women. This is what we do. Yeah.
And the men I attract too, like not to say that it has to have a certain presentation in the body there. So we took all this stuff and then the angels guided me to create what I thought was going to be like an oracle card deck, but it ended up being the start for each chapter in the book is what we call an angel attunement. So we've infused those with the angel's ability to dissolve limiting beliefs and subconscious programming and all the other stuff that we call gunk. So each of the short chapters starts with one of these attunements that gets rid of the stuff that's blocking our flourishing, the stuff that we heard when we were little kids, until about age 7, Dr. Bruce Lipton likes to talk about how we're just wide open and we receive everything as
First
the
7
rules
years
to live
are
by.
super important. Yep.
Yeah. So, and all that stuff is running in the background. So it's determining it's the reason that we keep doing the work and we don't make progress in certain areas. So the book actually has the ability to dissolve that stuff effortlessly.
Yes, because the book actually, you talk about, because you can use your book in different ways, right? Like you guys don't necessarily need to start on page 1 and make it a linear book where it has a conclusion. Tell us how you can kind of play with it.
Yay. So yes, you can read it like a normal book from front to back. Or I've been hearing from more and more people that they like to do it as an evening practice before they fall asleep, read a chapter or 2 or 3. But you can use it as a divination tool. So you can hold a question, which can be as general as, angels, what would you like me to know today? And let the book open to a random page, as if there's such a thing as random, and get your answer. So it's kind of like an angel card reading in book form.
In book form. Because like you said, you have those attunements that you started with before every chapter. So and these aren't super long chapters, you guys. So when she says 2 or 3 chapters for bedtime, you don't have to go to bed an hour and a half early to do this. I just want to make it clear. Like it's much more simple than that. And
I think the longest chapter is like 3 pages long. So they're 1 to 3 pages.
So it does feel like you just said, it does resonate with me when you said like an extended oracle card type of thing, where you pull a card in the morning or in the evening. Yeah. But it gives you a little more information. And you call it angel coaching. Like what differs like regular old coaching from angel coaching?
Well, so I struggled for years to describe what I do. And I'm sure a lot of your listeners can relate, right? Like I do this weird thing that I'm kind of made up. That's the Sue way of doing things.
Sure.
But then one of my clients said, I tell people you're my angel coach. I was like, that's it. So for the last 9 years or so, it's been my angel coach, and it's been angel coaching, which is, it's life and business coaching, it's energy healing, and it's delivering guidance from the angels and really helping people receive their own guidance. Because at the end of the day, I didn't want to work with the same people forever and ever. I wanted to make sure that they didn't need me anymore.
Right. Because we all have the ability to be coached by our angels. It's just very confusing how to do that. And so when you're coaching someone, I always like to know this, and I've asked this of others that channel different things, or, how do you know that your ego is out of the way and it's angel wisdom?
I love that question. So I hear a lot of voices in my head. Some of them are critical voices, right? Some of them are the people who were not kind to me throughout life. Some of them are super optimistic and cheerleader, because you can tell enthusiasm is one of my superpowers. So sometimes it's my inner golden retriever going, oh, I love this person. And the angel voices tend to feel very neutral. So they're not positive. They're not negative. They have what I call of courseness. They feel like, oh, of course.
Yeah, just like very matter of fact. Yeah.
Yes.
There's no real emotion behind it, is what you're saying. Okay.
Yes. It just feels like truth with a capital T. So in fact, sometimes my inner 8-year-old is like, duh, I knew that.
Right. Like
With a little Valley accent, of course.
you're the Valley girl. Yeah.
And the angels often tell me to either say something or ask something. And this is where I start to argue with them because they'll say something that I know nothing about, like a golf analogy. And I'll say it, and inevitably the person I'm with, the client, will either say, my dad used to always say that, or I was just wondering about that. So I always get the confirmation, and yet I still argue with them.
So you
when I ask them
absolutely
to
know
say
it didn't come from your mind and ego because you
I
wouldn't
knew
even
nothing.
thought about that analogy. Yeah. So it brings you in that way. And do you need to, before you start like communicating with the angels, especially at the beginning, for those listening who want to start this process, did it take time to drop in? Like, was it a meditation process and then you knew, okay, now I'm connected? Or was it just like, nope, here they are? Like,
It's
was it a
just
process for you?
It's very much I show up and be me. So there's a letting go of turbulence, maybe, if I'm feeling really agitated. But there have been times where I've come like sliding into home plate to do a coaching session and able to do it with zero preparation because the angels trained me really to do this, to trust. And it feels like the most me that I am during any day. It's me showing up and being me. So the angels want to say to everybody, there's no right or wrong way to do this. If you want to do a meditation before you tune into the angels, by all means. If you want to get out your journal and dump all the thoughts that are running around in your head before you tune into the angels, by all means. But they are bringing you guidance every moment of every day, whether you're feeling peaceful and calm or agitated or terrified. They're always bringing you guidance so that you don't have to be in any particular state to hear them.
Is there a specific angel that you tend to work with, or does it just feel like a collective angel energy all the time?
It feels collective. And I know they're not the angels that people know by name here on earth. So the angels that I work with have spent more time helping higher consciousness civilizations. And they're here specifically to help humanity rise up into a higher level of consciousness that's based in divine unconditional love. So my reason for being on the planet now is to help people be more of their aspect of the divine in physical form.
Okay, so that's your calling. And so you know that those are the angels that are heavily working with you,
Yes.
like when you're coaching. Okay, because do you feel like we all have a specific guardian angel assigned to us? Have they told you anything about this?
So they always say to me, and I'm a generalist, right? So they always say to me, we all have legions of angels. And I love that word legions because it feels like so many. I don't even know how many that means.
It's not just one little helper, like we're
So
fully
many.
protected. Okay, I like that.
Hundreds of thousands, they just said. And it depends on what we're focused on. So different angels love different things. So there are angels that will help you with automotive repair, and there are angels that will help you with, fixing something that broke in your house. And there are angels that will help you with relationships.
And do we need to ask them and call on them for help, or will they just step in? Like if I'm repairing my car, do I need to say like, I could really use a mechanic angel right now? Or will they just step forward and do it? Do we need to ask, I guess is my question.
Well, there's a both and to that. And that's a perfect question. So we live on a free will planet. So they're always with us. They're always helping us, but they can do more when we ask. So we like to share the angel delegation statement. It's a different way of asking. So instead of angels help me with this, or please, I really, really need, which triggers scarcity, fear, anxiety, worry in us, right?
Yes.
They like us to say, thank you, angels, for taking care of fixing my car. Thank you, angels, for guiding my hands while I'm fixing my car. We give them permission, but so much more than that, we acknowledge that they're already on it. So the minute I say, thank you, angels, for taking care of book sales, I feel so much lighter. I feel relief. So the angels want us to play with that. Thank you for taking care of, fill in the blank with whatever is on your mind.
So it's not like an ask.
No.
It's more of a like, just thank them like it's done.
Exactly. We're acknowledging that they're on it, and they are. They always are. But when we acknowledge it, we feel better. And so that helps us be more receptive.
And then they can expand and do more because it's almost like we've acknowledged it, which is a way of giving permission, right?
Yes. So because it's a free will planet, it really helps to give them permission. So they like to say it this way. If you're running around the house looking for your keys and you can't find your keys and you can't find your keys, they're jumping up and down going over here, over here, over here. But
Mhm.
if we say, thank you, angels, for finding my keys, they can knock them off the table and then we'll see them in the middle of the floor. So
Ooh,
the
all
more we
right.
give them permission, they can be so much more involved or obvious.
Okay. But I'm assuming we've come into this life with a plan and they're aware of the plan that we planned for. This is my belief. Okay. So if there's a plan in motion, because I know a lot of people are going to say, okay, but like I have, or my loved one has a terminal illness or there's something serious going on. And I'm saying, thank you for healing my mother, like whatever it happens to be. We can't assume we'll get the exact answer we expected because they know our plan.
Yes.
And that might not have been the plan. Does that make sense?
That totally makes sense. So they want to say that there are people who came in, for example, to experience autism. And that may be to help the people in their family experience unconditional love because they can't get those kids to behave the way they think they should. We may have a much higher purpose. We may have come in to experience certain things very intentionally. The angels wanted to say, with your example, it was a perfect example. Thank you for healing my mother is maybe not as beneficial for you, not for your mother, as thank you for taking care of my mother. So when I get even more general and less attached to a particular outcome, healing is a pretty particular outcome. Taken care of is much more general. The more general we get, the lighter we feel. When I'm attached to a particular outcome, like I literally felt my shoulders tense and curve inward, like in a protective form. And when I let go of an outcome, I can feel myself open up and relax. So that's why they really love using that relief or relaxation or expansion as a sign that we've delegated it and we've let go of it. And we love using taking care of for almost everything. Thank you for taking care of me. Thank you for taking care of my body. Thank you for taking care of my beloved. Thank you for taking care of my yard.
Yeah.
It's sufficiently general that it allows for divine intent. It allows for the life plans that people had. It allows for all the moving parts and pieces in the universe to come together in whatever way is divinely perfect. And it lets go of us trying to figure out what we should do, how things should be, all those things we've been taught and programmed to do that make life so complicated and so worrisome.
Yeah. Because it feels like it's more of a thank you for, helping guide the path I intended, not knowing what that path is, right? Thank you for helping me stay on my path.
And they want to say it's all path. Like you can't get off the path. It's all path. Wherever you go, whatever step you take, the
But
angels are
sometimes
with
it
you.
feels unaligned, like,
Yes.
I don't know that I'm doing what I really need to be, right?
So they want to really speak to that. I'm glad you
Okay.
said that because my journey has seemed very nonlinear to me. Now, my beloved calls it 2020 breadcrumbs. With 2020 hindsight, I can look back and see the breadcrumb trail I was being led on that I was following. But it seemed like I went off on that tangent and I went off on that tangent. So they want to say we're on this journey of evolving and becoming, and the angels are always calling us forward. Sometimes we are, let's say, stubborn enough to require a stronger push. So for me, for example, I never would have gone into business with a now ex-boyfriend if I had had any other stream of income, like even inkling that it was going to come from somewhere else.
Yeah.
I felt desperate enough that I went to work with this person because the angels wanted me to have those experiences of working in that business, to meet the people, to learn the things I learned, to really see that I could do work purely from divine guidance. So I had no idea how to do a lot of the things I was doing, and yet I intuitively knew what to do. And so they wanted to show me that so that I could be first of all, a living example, like a tuning fork for that with others, because people feel what's true in your body. And
For sure.
so I could be out there saying to people, like all of these beautiful people now listening, trust the process, trust the journey, trust that if you are somewhere, the angels will use that. There's nothing that's wasted effort. They are the best upcyclers in the cosmos. They know how to use everything for your benefit. And they really also, the both and here is if something feels not harmonious in your system, like working in that company I mentioned, it was and being in that relationship was very, very hard on me. Like I could have done the work every day over and over to come back into inner harmony and be able to do whatever was next to be done. But it took so much energy and resources to keep coming back to my center. It was not a fertile, supportive environment for me. So eventually I gave myself permission to get out of there and to transplant myself into a more fertile environment. And then I had so much more energy available for flourishing and thriving as opposed to surviving.
So it feels like what you just gave, just going to tell you what I heard, that you gave us permission to forgive and not worry about mistakes we've made in the past because our angels and we have utilized them to our benefit, right? They have the power to help us do that, and not to worry too much about our future, but just try and stay present in what feels right. And even if we make because we're human, we're going to make more mistakes, duh. So if we make more mistakes, just know that they will help us readjust and turn it more into a benefit.
And let's not even call them mistakes, right? We took a step. And so the way the angels show us the path is usually just one, maybe two steps at a time. And sometimes they guide us to take a step so that we get more clarity. So Abraham Hicks would call that contrast, right? We take a step, and maybe that was something that we always thought we wanted, and we get it and we're like, ooh, I was wrong about that. Right. That was a mistake. We can call it a mistake, but really it's just information. We don't have to have a judgment on that information. It's like, oh, clarity, not what I really wanted. Good to know. So the more we can look at it as sort of a treasure hunt, or, following the breadcrumb trail, we're going to take steps in directions that don't feel yummy. They feel yucky. That's one of our favorite divine guidance tools, yummy or yucky. If you've ever fed a toddler, if you give them something they think is yucky, it comes right back out again. And that doesn't get trained out of our physical body. It's a visceral reaction. So if somebody says to you, would you like to go do blah, blah, blah? And you're like, ooh, that's a no. Just try that.
Yeah, this feels like just really staying in touch with our intuition on a pretty steady level. And like you said, feeling it in our body. If it's a no, it's a no. And I feel like as midlifers, we're at the point now where it's like, we know how to do that, right? We know what a no feels like at this point in our life. We just have to recognize it and respond appropriately now, right?
I just love that you said respond appropriately. Sorry to cut you off, but that's so exciting because and there's no right or wrong. Again, the angels have zero judgment. They are as judgment-free as any being could ever be. They're like not as any being could ever be. They are judgment-free, period. Thank you.
Period.
And they want to say when we feel turbulence, so anything other than inner harmony, they want us to be love for ourselves first, comfort ourselves, soothe ourselves, give ourselves a timeout if we're in a challenging conversation or meeting at work, right? Sorry, got to throw up. I'll be right back, right? Nobody's going to say you must stay in this meeting, even if you're going to throw up. So give yourself that power of the pause. Call your coach if you need to. Hug a friend, pet your cat, walk your dog, whatever helps you come back to inner harmony, and then say your no as much as possible. Because it's going to have a different energy when you're being unconditional love for yourself first. You're coming from the most powerful energy in the cosmos. Divine unconditional love is the most powerful energy. When someone pushes one of your buttons and you're like, no, you can't make me, your inner rebellious teenager gets activated. It's a very different energy, and it's going to have a different unfolding. The trajectory of that conversation is going to be different if you're being reactive. Now, if you're being reactive, don't beat yourself up. It is what it is. You did what you did. Stay present as much as you can. Come back to the moment. If you feel like you want to reach out to somebody and say, hey, I know that reaction was really big compared to what you said. You obviously pushed one of my hot buttons, one of my trauma triggers. Please know I love you no matter what. Do that. If it's somebody, sometimes we speak in a forceful way because that's the only way the other person will hear us. So we don't have to figure out when we need to apologize or, reach out to somebody or not. All we need to do is tune into our guidance, which will tell us. So that thing you said about not worrying about the future is so important. Just be in this moment, tune into your guidance. And we love asking the most general question imaginable. Angels, is there something for me to do or say right now? And they want to say 85% of the time, the answer is no, there's nothing for you to do or say right now. So that urgency or pressure we feel to be making a difference every moment of every day is programming. So let's uncreate, delete, dissolve, and dissipate.
Yeah. So it sounds like there's a power in that pause, right? There's power in the pause. You guys slow down. because I've been thinking a lot, even lately, about bringing back more feminine energy into the universe versus masculine, because I feel like it is more in touch with intuition and there's more pause. It's not as much, go, 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 go. We got to get it done right now, right? There's that pause that we need to take so that, yeah.
And the feminine energy is receptive. And
Yeah.
so being able to pause, and you don't have to pause for a long time. You may be very, very
No.
busy. Choose any time you're sitting still, right? When you're riding the bus, when you're sitting in traffic, when you're in the bathroom, just close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths. You don't have to do anything fancy. You don't need a mantra. If you close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths, the most ancient part of your brain knows that there is no imminent danger. When you're running from the saber-toothed tiger, you cannot close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths. So your body knows, oh, it was a false alarm. So if you've been go, 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 even if you've been hypervigilant, you had some trauma in your life and your body is stuck on high alert, the more you close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths, the more your nervous system can reset. And you stop sending all that cortisol, all the stress hormones through your body.
Yeah.
And you start to send the rest and digest hormones.
Yeah, because you're letting your body know we are not needing to be in fight or flight, because our bodies don't really know the difference between a tiger about to attack us and just a little panic attack about, dinner. Like, our body just doesn't know. So you're saying the 3 breaths is a good habit to get into because it's so quick, but it's letting our body and our brain and our nervous system, like you said, know, like, we're okay, settle down.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's really great for that is something called havening. So it's very simple. You're just going to stroke your arms from shoulder to elbow.
Okay.
I actually really like to do it on the inside of my forearms and across my palms.
Like a little...
And it resets the nervous system.
Oh,
it
I like
feels
that.
very much like the Divine Mother, right? Like the mother that we all wish we had. Some of us were lucky enough to have, comforting and soothing us in the moment. And it tells our nervous system, it's okay. I love you, sweetheart. You're okay.
And does it, I don't know why this just popped in my head, but like, is that a way we acknowledge the creation energy? I don't even know if that makes sense, but that just popped in my head.
That's a beautiful way to put it. So Divine Mother is another term for God, the divine, the creator. So yes, in the most nurturing way, it's activating our inner nurturer in a self-care way. Many of us have an inner nurturer who's much more attentive to everybody else.
Yeah. I feel like especially as women, we hold a lot of that creation energy, right?
Yes.
You talk in your book about the gunk. Are we kind of addressing like getting the gunk out, or is there more to it?
Well, we're definitely on that path. The more we're present in the moment, the less we're in the weeds of the gunk.
Yeah. Because you talk about like getting back to our original olfactory settings kind of thing, right?
Yes. So I love the phrase original factory settings. It comes from all those years I was a car magazine editor.
It sounds like it.
Yeah. So when people who are car enthusiasts want to make their car or truck perform better, because most vehicles for quite a long time now have been computer controlled, they have to change the computer in the car to be different from the original factory settings. So when you do that in a car, you can make it more fun to drive. You can make it perform better. When you do that to you as a human, it's not so fun. So our original factory settings, the way we were made by the divine, is innocent, receptive, right? Learning effortlessly all the time. If you look at a toddler, everything is fresh and new and interesting, and they're constantly learning. That's how we were built to be. That is our original factory settings. The gunk is all the stuff that gets in the way of that. So from that really early age, maybe even in the womb, beginning to pick up the societal conditioning, the belief systems, money doesn't grow on trees, money is the root of all evil, good girls don't do this, big boys don't cry.
Religion comes into play now.
Religion, everything that would tell you you should do this and you should not do that. You should be this way. The world should be this way. And it's our job to fix all the things that are wrong and all the things that will tell you you're not enough, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not pretty enough, you didn't do enough, you're not doing it fast enough, well enough. Everything that feels yucky is programming. That's all the gunk. And we call it gunk because it's very easy for the angels to dissolve that for us. We like the image of a dirty window and, you get out the window cleaner and it's gone. And then you're seeing clearly again.
Yeah. Yep. And that doesn't mean some gunk can't get back in there. The constant cleaning process, I'm thinking.
So, and there's a point at which we get past it, right? We become immune. So,
Yeah.
and that's part of what the book is for. So we like to joke you could put the book under your pillow and you get the same benefits as if you actually read it. But our left brains, most of us have busy minds, like to
Mhm.
know what we're doing and what's coming up for us. So it's fun to open the book and see, okay, angels, what would you have me know? And if it keeps opening to gunk, just keep saying, thank you, angels, for clearing the gunk. And the angels want to add, sometimes it really benefits us to know what's being cleared or where it came from, why, the why. And sometimes we don't need to know. If we know, we may just go back down that rabbit hole. So they're not going to show it to us. So the more we can lean into trust that the angels show us what would be of benefit for us to know, and they don't show us what would not be of benefit for us to know, the happier we can be in life, really.
Yeah. I love that you just said that because this resonates with me because I recently did a little psychedelic journey and I met with some angels and different parts of myself and all the things. And they were making it very clear to me that because I thought I was going to go back and view some childhood trauma. Okay. I really thought that was going to happen. And it just kept coming through. No, like we don't need to do that. Like that's not important. Right? You don't need to go back and relive anything. What we need to do is clear it out of your body, what's left, right? Because I've been doing the work. I've been clearing the gunk so that we can move forward, right? We don't have to have our roots planted so deep in the past like that. We don't need to overassess every darn trauma. Right? We
Yes.
could just release and move on. So that really resonated when you said that the angels are, basically like don't necessarily need to show you all those things, right? So we don't have to necessarily go back to a very traumatic moment and relive it to remove that gunk, is what I'm
Right.
hearing you say. Yeah. We can
Exactly.
just say, thank you for removing it and kind of move on. Yeah.
Yes. And then do whatever you feel inspired. So a lot of times if we're releasing trauma from the body, movement can help. So there's trauma release exercises are really useful. Shaking, like when an animal gets chased by a predator and escapes, it will shake from head to tail to release all of that adrenaline and trauma in its system. Dancing is a great way to move energy. So you can get up and intentionally dance. Today, I am going to dance out all the anger from my system. Okay, what song? And for me, it might be Judas Priest or Corrosion of Conformity or AC/DC, and I'll get out there and and different music has different energies, right? Some music
Mhm.
feels angry. Some music feels sad. If I'm looking to release sadness, I'm going to listen to something different than if I'm looking to release anger. But the angels highly recommend that we do this on a regular basis just to get the stuff out because stuck energy in our system can eventually turn into physical symptoms. So it's really helpful to just do some spring cleaning.
I've heard from, midlife women who are in this spiritual awakening right now. If you're listening, friends, sometimes we get really concerned with, are we doing it right? What kind of yoga should I do? What pose do I need to do to release that? And really what's been coming through for me too is like, it's not that serious. You can just dance to your favorite music and you will accomplish the things. You do not need to do a specific yoga sequence. Now, I'm not saying those don't help. Like, yes, for some people that's life-changing, but that's not for all of us, right? We
What?
can't worry about doing exactly like someone we know. Yeah.
And believe me, this doing it wrong thing has been present for me the last couple months. So you can lean into my knowing that we can't do it wrong. And the angels want to add, the more we can let go of trying to figure things out. So which yoga pose do I do? Which flavor of yoga do I do?
Yeah.
Which
Am I meditating
dance
right?
do I
Am I?
do?
Yeah.
Which music do I listen to? The more we can just close our eyes and put our finger on a CD, if you still have CDs, close our eyes and put our finger on the video on YouTube. Like, don't worry about it. The angels will guide you. Whatever you choose, you can't do it wrong. If you start it and it doesn't feel yummy, it feels yucky, choose something else.
Yeah, I do that a lot with my playlist. I just did this the other day. I was feeling kind of ucky, and I'll just hit shuffle. Like I know everything in my playlist I love, and I have everything in my playlist from, like you said, sad songs. I have country songs. I have hard rock. I have all the things. And sometimes I'll hear a new song. I'll be like, I like that. I'll just add it into my playlist. Okay, then I'll just hit the old shuffle button and see what the angels of the universe decide I should listen to. And like you said, if the first song up is like, yeah, then you just skip it. And eventually it gets in the groove and you're like, yep, this is where I was meant to be now. And so it can be that simple, right?
Yes. We
Yeah.
make it hard by trying to figure everything out.
Don't we humans really just make things hard, don't we?
Totally.
No, so hard. Yeah. It's
So all we have to do is soothe ourselves when we're not in harmony and tune into our guidance. And
yeah.
we don't have to be centered to get our guidance, right? If we're feeling angry or fearful or sad or whatever it is in the moment, still tune into your guidance. The angels want to say your guidance is going to feel different depending on what's going on, right?
Yeah.
So if you're feeling blissed out, your guidance is going to be more of a match to that. It's not going to
Yeah.
suddenly stress you out.
It just kind of feels like how you talk about the, like living in the question, right? Instead of being very specific, like what movie should I watch? This is a generic thing. I don't know that I would necessarily ask my angels that question, but we might,
But it's a
right?
great question.
Right. Like what should I, or bigger questions, who should I marry? Should I marry this person? Should I divorce this person? Like big questions. And it felt like in the book, you were directing us more to living the question than asking specific ones. So do you have any more they'd like to add on that?
Yes. So two things. First, they want to talk about should. So should is an unanswerable question. Every time we ask anything with should in it, it's basically, what do other people think? What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
So that's all programming, right? Not only do they not agree with each other, but they're not consistent. Like one day they think you should do this, and the next day they think you should do the other thing. Anytime we use the word should, the angels guide us to substitute the words really want to. So I should call my mother versus I really want to call my mother. Like in an instant, you will know if you really want to call your mother or not.
Ooh,
And
okay.
then you do or you don't based on how you feel in your body. So there's
not
that.
Should I? It's do I want to? Ask yourself, do I want to marry that person? And then boom, feel how it feels. Is that what you're saying?
And they're saying smaller chunks. So marry that person is
big.
a pretty big and hard to answer question. So we call those unanswerable questions, especially when you first start dating somebody. I used to have a lot of single girlfriends, and they would go on 1 or 2 dates with somebody and be like, I can't tell if he's the one. Well, of course you can't yet. And you don't need to answer the question, is he the one? The answerable question in that moment is, do I want to go on one more date with this person? Same for if your child is starting college and they want to decide what to major in. They may be looking at it like, what do I want to be when I grow up? I don't know what I want to be, which is really big and possibly unanswerable from where they're standing right now. But do I want to take one more class in this subject is an answerable question. So those are sort of the smaller day-to-day, how do I tune into my guidance questions? And then living in the question becomes much more open-ended. So instead of, how can I get this project done by close of business on Friday? I might ask, how can I allow this project to feel easy and effortless? It's broader. It's more open-ended. It's still focused on a particular thing, this project, but I could even say, how do I allow work to feel energizing and interesting and exciting?
Yeah. Like what part of this project could I love doing today?
Yes.
Right. And maybe just do that, just work on that. Yeah.
So for people who have the endless to-do list, which many life women,
everybody.
Right. So they recommend that we get out our to-do list. I call it my ta-da list because after I finish something, I can go ta-da, which just makes me happy because I'm 6 years old. But they recommend that we get out our to-do or our to-do list and look at the things on it and see which one gives us a pop of energy, like a yummy kind of energy or any kind of yes from our guidance. So some of them are going to feel yucky. Some of them are going to feel yummy. It's possible that none of them feel yummy and all of them feel yucky, in which case, angels, what would you have me do right now? Or maybe there's one that feels more neutral, so do that one, right? It's less yucky. As we begin to navigate life more and more through our guidance and through our bodies, right? Because our bodies are going to give us the unfiltered truth of the moment. Then we're allowing life to be easier. We're allowing ourselves to be supported on the journey.
Yeah.
So the angels know that many of us have received programming to be self-sufficient and independent, take care of ourselves, not be needy, not be dependent on anyone else. And they want us to know that's all programming. We are meant to be part of an ecosystem just like trees are. A forest is not a whole bunch of independent, self-sufficient trees. They're actually all connected underground, along with fungus and the whole mycelial network of communication. They function as an ecosystem, and we are meant to be the same. So they really want to dissolve within us any resistance to receiving help, to asking for help, and to receiving in general. because
Yeah.
those of us who are overgivers, and I'm guessing that's a lot of your people, your community,
Oh, yeah, all of us.
there can be no giving without receiving. They're simultaneous. In fact,
Yeah.
they're really one thing in oneness. If we're all a different facet of the one jewel, we're
Yep.
only ever giving to ourselves and receiving from ourselves. So the more we can allow ourselves to, and if you have a hard time receiving from a particular person or entity, like a government assistance program
Mhm.
or a charitable organization, then just remember that it's coming from the angels. It's coming from the divine. So thank you, angels, for working through that person. Thank you, angels, for working through that organization. Thank you, angels, for bringing me everything that I need. The
Yeah.
more we can live in that, thank you, we are open to receive more. And the angels want to lavish us with abundance and blessings and gifts and joyful connections and wonderful conversations and people who smile at us when we walk down the street. They want to bring us a life that feels yummy.
Yeah. What about this though? Because, for highly sensitive people or empaths, we absorb the energy around us. And so a lot of times I remember you suggesting like us questioning though, is it mine? Is it mine to handle, to worry about, to even bring to the angels? Like, can you extend on that? Because I know a lot of us take on far more things that are not ours to carry, right? Like we're carrying around little burdens that were not meant to be ours to carry. How do we know when that's happening?
I love this question. So we know when we ask, is it mine? If I feel relief or I feel lighter, like that took a load off my shoulders, it wasn't mine to begin with. So the angels will take it. We can give it to the angels, give it to love. They want to say almost everything, very, very close to everything that troubles us is not ours. So as empaths and highly sensitive beings, we are helping others unconsciously. Now, this is something we started doing in early childhood or even in the womb. We started pulling problems out of our mom so that she would be able to function. We needed her and we loved her
Right.
unconditionally. So we started taking on some of her burdens, maybe some of our siblings, our parents, the more challenges there were in our early childhood, the more we do that unconsciously and with great love. We do it from love, but it's not helpful for us anymore. So now we're at a stage where we know we don't need to do those things to help those people
Mhm.
who were taking care of us, who were essential to our well-being when we were little.
Yeah.
So if you will give the angels permission, they will begin to dissolve that program. Those rules that we made for ourselves when we were tiny, possibly pre-verbal beings. So they will begin to pull all of that tendency, program, proclivity, habit out of our system, allowing us to move through the world without picking up so much of other people's stuff. And they also want to add that when we suddenly feel sad, angry, a pain in our shoulder, to get in the habit of saying, is it mine? Because it's possible you walked past somebody who had a whole lot of shoulder pain and you pulled some of it out of their system for them. Because that's how kind and generous we are. And you can't fix shoulder pain that's not yours. It's not actually a physical problem in your system. So give it to the angels. If you have any symptoms that you've had for a long time and nobody can figure out what's going on, just keep giving it to the angels. Thank you, angels, for taking care of that pain. Thank you, angels, for taking care of my body. Keep it as general as you want. That way we're not attached
And
to a
it just be
specific
as
outcome.
general as every day making it a habit to say, thank you for taking the burdens that aren't mine away. Thank you for, not asking like, can you please take away? Thank you for taking away anything that's not mine to carry. Right.
Yes,
And they'll just know what you mean, right? They'll just
exactly.
know. Yeah.
And they'll
Right.
jump up and down and cheer, like, finally, she's letting us take all
Finally,
that stuff out of her
letting us do
system.
the stuff we wanted to do. Cause like you said, free will, right?
Yes.
Some of us almost get comfortable in the pain. And
We get acclimated.
yes. And it just feels like, well, this is the cards I was dealt, right? When really, no, we weren't dealt those cards. A lot of
Right.
it is just burdens we took on that we really don't need to do anymore. Yeah. So this is part of the work I was talking about, you guys.
And we feel so much of the collective too as empaths and sensitives.
Mm-hmm.
So the
And there's
angels
a
would
lot
love,
going on in the world right now where we are feeling a lot of burdens, right? And so this feels like a practice that would be good to start now saying, thank you, not please, thank you for taking on the burdens that aren't mine to carry right now, right? Thank you for showing me what I need to do in my own journey here. Yeah, because it can be overwhelming to think all the things happening out in the world. Like, which one am I supposed to help with? I can't solve it all, right?
So they got super excited when you said that.
Oh, all
So,
right.
so they want you to know, you beautiful being, that most of what is going on in the world is not yours to fix or change. They want to say 99.9%. All you have to do is show up in the moment and tune into, is there something for me to do or say right now? Now, in those moments where we're buffeted by the collective, thank you, angels, for taking care of that. Thank you for sending love into the collective. So they want all of us to remember, and it's really just remembering, that divine unconditional love is the most powerful energy. So thank you, angels, for filling every cell in my body with divine unconditional love. Thank you for filling my physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies with divine unconditional love. Thank you for filling my house, my neighborhood, my state, my country, my planet with divine unconditional love. You cannot send too much love into the world. And the beauty of doing this as a practice, and perhaps you would like to do it in the morning or in the evening or 47 times a day, is that you feel loved and supported. It reminds you that the angels are here to fill our worlds and our lives with divine unconditional love. So we're being the change. This is an incredibly powerful practice. We know from many, many studies that a group of people meditating and focusing their energy on a city can reduce the violent crime rate in that city. We know that a group of people meditating and focusing on a polluted body of water can clean up that body of water. Our intention is very strong. And when we come together with others and do it, it's amplified even more. So if everybody listening to this once a day said, thank you, angels, for filling this entire planet with divine unconditional love, this planet would transform very quickly.
Yeah. And that's not saying, okay, because we can send out, like you said, love all over the world, but there may be some little things we do feel a pull that do feel a little bit like our responsibility. And it's typically things that are very close to us in our lives, right? It's not, I can't take on stopping a bomb from dropping somewhere. I just can't, right? I can send love to that area. I can send love to all over the place. But maybe here in my life, like I feel a calling towards helping children in the DCFS foster system. I advocate in that system and I feel called to use energy towards that. Right. So it wouldn't be enough for me to just go and say, please send love and light to all the children in foster care right now. I know I can't help them all at once, but I could help the one child I'm advocating for. So I don't want it to seem like there's no call to action at all in this world, right? Like we all do have purpose in small things we can help and change, but we just can't get overwhelmed with the whole ball of wax, the whole craziness going on. It's not all ours to solve. So I think that's something we have to really center on. Does that seem right? Are they saying
absolutely? They did want to mention that word responsibility.
Okay.
So when something feels like duty, obligation, or responsibility, they want us to give it to the angels. Thank you, angels, for taking care of that, whatever it is that feels like responsibility, because responsibility generally feels hard and heavy. They want us to tune into what calls us forward. So that's going to feel more eager or curious or interesting or energizing or exciting. So, and they want to absolutely jump up and down and agree with you that it's not about sitting around and sending energy all day, unless that is your purpose. And there are people whose purpose is to hold center, right? To be peace on this planet is a huge gift to the planet. So if that's you, please don't feel like you have to find what to do. Being peace is doing. And if you feel lit by helping one or many children in the foster care system, by all means, follow that energy. That is your divine guidance.
It should feel exciting, passionate, loving.
Heartwarming.
And that's how it feels for me. And there have been other things I volunteered or done too, where it felt heavy, right? It felt heavy. It didn't fill my cup. I didn't feel full of love completing it. So then I knew, no, that wasn't mine to carry. Give that to the angels, right? Thank you for taking care of that, angels. I'm going to stick with what lights me up and makes me passionate.
And sometimes it's kind of a middle ground there. Like for many years, I was a monthly donor to a organization called Covenant House that helped homeless teens get off the streets.
Okay.
And I still really resonate with what they do. I am not meant to go help homeless teens get off the streets personally, but it felt very light and
Yeah,
loving
to that cause. Yeah.
to send, $20 a month to help with that. So it may be that you're not meant to go do it physically, but there is some other way you can do that. And it could be that they're having a bake sale and you love to bake and you bring them 10 apple pies to sell. It doesn't
Yeah.
really matter.
It just
It's
goes
doing
back to really tuning into your intuition and what feels good, feels passionate and loving and excites you. Then you know you're heading in the right direction. That's where your energy is meant to be spent.
And it's being in that living in the question. Okay, I feel passionate about the foster care system, about helping kids in the foster
Yeah.
care system. What feels light and energizing to me to be of benefit there? So it's very possible that for many of us, it's sending love. And that is not just enough. It is incredibly powerful and transformative. And
Sure.
for some of us, it feels good to join big brothers and big sisters. And for some of us, it feels good to become a foster parent and bring kids into the house. There's no one way to do it. But as we live in the question of what would be the most Sue way or the most Jen way to be a contribution in this space, the angels will pop ideas into your awareness.
Yeah, just stay aligned. And that could be, if you're wondering right now, they're like, well, I don't know what lights me up or makes me passionate or whatever. Well, that's something you could give to the angels too. Thank you for guiding me towards my passions.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the angels do want to add that there are people on the planet now who have a very, very general purpose or mission, and that it is to hold these energies that are new reality energies or fifth dimensional energies.
Yep.
So, for example, we have a dear friend who loves to go sit in the forest and journal and find peace and hold the energy of peace with the trees. That is a divine purpose. Some of us have very, very general divine purposes because clearly this is a planet that could benefit from more peace and
Yes.
love and appreciation for nature. So if you only feel inspired to do things like go hike in the forest and climb to the top of a mountain and look out at the view and
that's
feel,
enough.
yes, that is enough.
A lot less judgment on what everybody else is doing too, is what I'm hearing. Because, a go getter is going to look at that person who's forest bathing and be like, why don't you do more? And the forest bather's saying, why don't you slow down? Like, why are you doing so much? So I think if we all maybe drop a little judgment and just assume that if everyone's following their passion, their path, guiding, like we're all fine. It's fine. We're not all meant to be the same. How boring would that be? That's not what we're here for.
And the angels want to jump in and add, there are people who are here to do things that we may not see as divinely perfect. So there are a lot of systems on the planet that we don't love. We know they're not new reality systems. It's not the way things are going to be done when we're all embodying our divinity. But there are people who are specifically here to keep them functioning for as long as possible so that there's a smoother transition. So there are people who are here to keep the tax system functional so that there is money for the government to support the people who need government assistance and to do the things, right? To build the roads.
Yeah.
To keep the air traffic controllers working.
All this government systems last an awful long time, isn't it?
And there are a lot of people who are here making sure that they're functional because if these systems crumbled, it would be very challenging for humanity.
Things can't crumble overnight, right? We weren't built for that.
We were not built to endure that. We're not, It was like an Escape from New York movie years ago about like New York just falling into chaos. We are not meant to live in that. So there are people who are here to do what seems like very hard and heavy things, being a bureaucrat and making sure that the rubber stamps get on the pieces of paper.
And so we need to ditch the judgment on all them too, you guys. Not what you want to hear, but
when they make their transition, they will be celebrated by the divine for having done their divine purpose of keeping things working for us. So the more we can let go of figuring out what's good, what's bad, what's right, what's wrong, who's good, who's bad, what they should be doing, how they're doing it wrong, all that stuff between our ears and that gets us all wound up. If you start to feel yourself getting wound up, that's a clue. Just take a moment. Power of the pause, soothe yourself, be love for yourself, and then tune into your guidance. And so we can also make a big difference by sending love into systems, by sending love to the government, by sending love to the IRS, by sending love to the bank. And we can pay our bills with love. We can send love to the electric company. Love is transformative. So please don't underestimate the effects of you paying your electric bill with a a huge helping of love. It goes out to all
Okay,
those
Sue, so
people
when
who
the
work.
collection company calls, we can just tell them, I sent your payment. It was love.
Well, we're saying at this point, you do need to send the check with love, right? Maybe.
Yeah, we're not saying don't pay the bills anymore, girls.
Well,
Yeah.
and there are a lot of people who are struggling around paying the bills.
Yep.
And so giving that to the angels.
Yeah. Thank you for the money that I will need to function in this lifetime for bringing it to me.
Or connecting with other resources, right?
Yes.
It doesn't have to be money, because maybe there are a lot of electric companies that have support systems for people who can't afford to pay the full bill. Maybe they pay half.
Community resources. Yep.
So thank you for guiding me.
Yeah. Okay. No, I like it. All right, you guys. So listen, my angel coach, you got to get all this book, especially if you're thinking, I would love to communicate with my angels more. I would love to be coached on a daily basis by my team, because like you heard, they're all really waiting to help you. And they are helping you, but they could do so much more is what I'm hearing. Like if we get in touch with them, allow them to do it, there's more they can do. And so this book is a really good guide to get us there. And we're going to wrap up this, but you guys are going to head to the bonus content, because Sue is going to I have questions, and we're going to channel and get some answers directly from the old angels for you guys on some things. The Jen's, I mean, you know, guys know me. I got a lot of questions always. So you're going to get this book. You're going to start down this angel journey. And then are you still coaching, or is it mostly?
I am not doing one-on-one coaching, but it's the book. And we're about to release a set of audios around money and work and abundance.
Okay.
And so we have so many free resources for people. So come.
Yes. So you guys know in the show links, I will have links to get this book and to Sue's website with all these free resources she has going on. So if this is all resonating with you, you know this is something you got to do now. This is part of your spiritual journey then. If you're feeling that passion inside, like we just talked about, if you're feeling a heavy yes on this angel coaching thing, you got to do it. You just go with your gut, guys. You go with your intuition. You do it. Thank you, Sue, for doing this. And I'm excited to jump in and do some channeling of the angels with some more questions. All right. Thanks, guys. See you next week. And make sure you hit up the bonus material. Listen, I know your time is valuable. And right now, I'm feeling super grateful and totally humbled that you chose to hang out with me today. If this podcast resonates with you, could you do me a solid and hit that subscribe or follow button? That's going to help you out because you're never going to miss an episode. And it helps me out because you're never going to miss an episode. And if you have like 30 seconds more, could you leave a 5-star rating and maybe leave a kick-ass review? Thank you so much. And I can't wait to continue our journey on the next episode. Oh, and I can't forget the fine print. You know, the legal jargon. This podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. We're just two friends on this journey together, and this podcast is not intended as a substitute for the advice of a physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or any other qualified professional. You get it. See you next time.